Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling something really critical. It's about how Indian media works during conflicts with Pakistan and, well, this persistent issue of fake news.
Right.
And understanding this isn't just, looking back. It gives us, I think, vital context for things happening even now.
Absolutely. And, if you're trying to get your head around the complexities of the region, the sheer amount of media, the different stories, it can be pretty overwhelming. So our mission here really is to use the insights from the research we looked at, Smoke and Screen, to kind of get to the heart of the Indian media's role.
Consider it a shortcut.
Yeah, exactly. A way to grasp the main points without drowning in detail.
Okay, so the material we've got, it kind of kicks off with a big question, doesn't it? Is the media acting as the fourth state?
Yeah.
Informing people, holding power accountable?
Right.
Or is it sometimes maybe fanning the flames during these Indo-Pak conflicts?
That's the core tension. And what's really striking is how different that ideal seems from what we actually see happening around major incidents. I think Pulwama, Balakot, the Uri attack.
Yeah.
Those moments, unfortunately, they seem to become like breeding grounds for stuff spreading really fast, information that maybe hasn't been checked properly.
Exactly. And the research we're discussing, it actually names some channels, Republic TV, Times Now, Z News, as one's often accused of, pushing unverified news, and this really strong hyper-nationalist angle. And it uses the 2019 Balakot airstrikes as a specific example, which is quite powerful.
Yeah, and if you look at the information flow around Balakot, the differences are, they're quite stark. Initially, you had Indian media, citing government sources mostly, reporting widely that around 300 terrorists were killed.
That was the number everyone heard.
Right, but then you had international news outlets like Reuters, Al Jazeera doing their own digging.
They found that.
They found basically no hard evidence for that number. Local reports on the ground suggested, damage mostly to trees, maybe one civilian injured, not mass casualties.
Wow, that's a huge difference. It really shows how a certain narrative can just take off, even if the verifiable facts suggest something else. Which brings us neatly to fake news itself. It's more than just getting things wrong by accident, right? There's often an intention behind it.
Precisely. The research really stresses this. Fake news in these contexts isn't just sloppy reporting. It's often crafted, deliberately made misinformation.
Crafted how?
It's designed to exploit emotions, things like fear, anger, patriotism, national identity, making it super effective during a conflict. And we see patterns, the same types of fake news keep popping up.
Okay, like what? Can you give us some concrete examples from the research?
Sure. One common thing is manipulated videos, stuff claiming to show, say, Pakistani jets being shot down, but they turn out to be like clips from a video game or totally unrelated footage.
Seriously, video game.
Yeah, or sometimes old footage, videos from Syria maybe or Afghanistan, presented as if it just happened and it's linked to Pakistan.
Wow.
And then there's the whole WhatsApp thing, just the sheer speed that unverified stuff, forwards, rumors can spread through messaging apps. It's massive.
Yeah, that combination of the speed and the reach that feels really dangerous. And the research mentions fact checkers, right? Like Alt News, Boom Live.
It does. They do crucial work debunking this stuff. But the problem is the fake story often gets out there first, gets believed first.
The damage is already done, almost.
Kind of. The initial emotional impact, the first impression, that often sticks, even if a correction comes later. People remember the dramatic claim.
So why does it work so well? Why is this kind of misinformation so effective, especially during conflicts? The research talks about drivers, right?
Yes, it digs into both psychological factors and maybe less obviously economic ones.
Okay, let's unpack those. What are the psychological angles?
Well, think about it. During tense, uncertain times, like a conflict, people naturally crave clarity. They want reassurance.
Makes sense.
And nationalism, a strong sense of us, can provide that. It offers identity, belonging. So media narratives that really push that strong nationalistic feeling, they can be incredibly appealing. They feel certain, even if they're not factually solid.
So it feeds a need. And the economic drivers, you mentioned TRPs.
Yes, television rating points. The research is pretty clear here. High TRPs mean more viewers, which means more advertising money for the channel.
Okay.
And what gets high ratings? Often it's the dramatic stuff. Patriotic content, maybe sensational visuals, claims of exclusive scoops, even if those scoops aren't fully verified.
So there's a financial incentive to prioritize Spectacle over accuracy.
That's what the research suggests, unfortunately, that the pressure for ratings can sometimes lead to prioritizing stories that grab attention that are sensational over ones that are maybe more carefully checked but less dramatic. Truth can take a backseat to spectacle.
That's quite troubling. And it has real consequences, right? Beyond just people having the wrong facts. What are the harms the research points to?
Oh, definitely. The harms can be severe. On a social level, within India, the research talks about horrific incidents like mob violence, even lynchings.
Oh, God.
Yeah, fueled by rumors, accusations of being anti-national often spread through this kind of misinformation. And minority groups can become targets for harassment, for discrimination in that kind of charged atmosphere.
And it's not just internal, is it? What about internationally?
Absolutely. This constant sort of war hysteria whipped up by some media outlets, it obviously damages diplomatic efforts between India and Pakistan. It can affect the economy. And think about the mental health of ordinary people living with that constant anxiety.
Yeah, the stress must be immense.
And beyond that, there's the reputational damage. If Indian media is seen globally as being biased, as pushing conflict narratives, it hurts the credibility of Indian journalism overall. It can even impact how India's democracy is viewed internationally.
It's a pretty bleak picture.
Yeah.
But the research doesn't just leave it there, right? It talks about what we can do. Listeners, consumers of news, what actions can people take?
Yeah, this is really important. It emphasizes practical steps. First, and probably top of the list, critically evaluate information before you hit share.
Pause before forwarding.
Exactly.
Eh.
Use the tools available. Fact-checking sites like Alt News, Boom Live, even simple things like a Google reverse image search to check if a picture is old or out of context. It's surprisingly effective.
That feels empowering, actually, taking that moment. What else?
Second, actively support independent journalism.
Yeah.
Outlets that really prioritize accuracy, ethical reporting, they're often the ones pushing back against the sensationalism.
Okay. Choose where you get your news carefully.
Right. And third, speak out. If you see hate speech, bias, misinformation, challenge it. Don't just let it slide. Silence can seem like agreement sometimes.
Make your voice heard. And last point.
Education. Talk to people, friends, family. Many people share fake news without realizing it's fake. Helping others understand media literacy, critical thinking. That can make a real difference.
It really underlines that we're not just passive consumers, are we? We all have a role in this information ecosystem.
Definitely.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, what's the big takeaway here? Looking at Indian media, Indo-Pak conflicts, fake news, what should we really hold on to?
I think the research really highlights just how tangled everything is. Conflict, information, the media's power. Truth becomes very, very fragile in these situations.
Yeah.
And the media has immense influence. It can be used to clarify, to calm things down, or it can be used to stir things up, to spread lies. So demanding higher standards, demanding accuracy, accountability from our news sources, it's absolutely crucial.
And the research connects that failure directly to democracy, doesn't it? Saying when media fails, democracy is weakened. That's a powerful statement.
It really is. It puts a lot of responsibility back on both the media institutions and, well, us as consumers.
Which leads, I guess, to a final thought for you, the listener, to maybe chew on after this.
Yeah, think about this. How do your own habits, the news you choose, what you share, how critically you actually read or watch it, how does all that collectively shape the bigger national conversation? And how might it even influence international views, especially when things get tense?
Something to keep in mind next time you're scrolling through